It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. Let's see how I say this. Well, let's see how I try to say this. Thank God we're not at home. Oh my goodness. I love my house, but not that much. It is good to be back at the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue. Now that we've got that out of the way and you all can drive and be safe and all that kind of stuff, let's go to Murfreesboro and say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Hello there.
George, you could have driven when it was snowy as well.
You mean out here?
Absolutely, man.
Okay.
Grow a pair. Let's go.
Well, now think about what you're saying.
I am thinking about what I'm saying.
You're thinking of Antioch, which is the only place you've known how to drive. Here, if you go from, let's say, West Nashville out here, there is a huge hill when you get past St. Henry's. And so for a couple, 3 of those days, not so fast, my friend. Let me do it, Lee Corso. Not so fast.
George, you've gotten softer each and every day that I've been on the air. You're soft.
Uh-huh.
You're getting soft as cotton candy, soft as fig Newton, soft as pond water. It's just unbelievable, dude. Grow up.
Right.
Get in your car, figure it out. Get to the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue, not in Antioch, in Bellevue.
You know what? Shove it. Billy, where do you side on this?
Well, look at Kelly acting like he knows where we do our show.
He doesn't even know.
Well, I found out.
Well, yeah, the one time. For those who don't know, and I love embellishing this, Kelly was supposed to meet us out here one day and ended up in Knoxville. It was pretty shocking.
That is very much embellishing because it wasn't Knoxville, but it was Antioch. That's for sure.
2 minutes embellishment. So, Billy, do you think Kelly fully understands that hill?
No, I mean that's a nasty hill.
I promise you, I get in my Tahoe and go up that hill like it's nothing.
Yeah, well, good for you.
Kelly's acting like
get out on the roads. I mean, learn how to drive in it. Everybody acts like it's Armageddon in Tennessee. It's not. It's just a little bit of snow.
Okay, I'll say this. By the end of the week, I had gotten out, and
I had too.
I don't get, I know schools, there's a big danger. I know some schools are out today again, but I got out later in the week, and I'm like, all right, we can chill out now. I mean, Thursday, Friday,
I went to the Vandy Auburn game Wednesday night.
Oh, I bet that was
fun. There you go, George.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
2 hours of my life. I'll never
get back.
Yeah. That'll teach me to be brave. So, okay, now that we're back to what seems like normal broadcasting and Kelly's taking cheap shots, do we have an update?
We do. And, of course, we're going to talk all about Divisional Round Weekend with Watson Brown coming up here in about 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes. But I want to start college-wise, I guess high school-wise, locally. 4-star quarterback George MacIntyre committed to Tennessee, giving Josh Heupel a pivotal in-state recruiting victory. He's a top 40 quarterback in the class of 2025. Had a tough year at Brentwood Academy, but it's a lot like Nico. He's 6'5", 190. He projects really well, and chose Tennessee over Alabama, LSU. Of course, we know his grandfather, his uncle George as well, is at not George.
Yes, his grandfather was George.
Yeah, but his uncle is Mike at FIU.
Yeah.
So.
And his grandfather is the late, great football coach at Vandy. So, Kelly, let me ask you this. When you get a school that's going up against Vandy for a kid, how many of those schools are going to look at that kid and say, look, if it was all it was cracked up to be, why didn't the grandson of a pretty legendary Vandy coach not go there?
I can't answer that question, George. It's just like Peyton not going to Ole Miss. You know, everybody wanted Peyton to go to Ole Miss, and he goes to UT. So I think everybody's got a journey of their own.
But don't you think that gets used?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people get upset about it too. I'm sure that gets used, and I'm sure when Vanderbilt talked to him, I'm sure they brought that up, man. But I think everybody has a journey of their own, and just because he doesn't go to Vanderbilt doesn't mean that he, obviously he's had some legacy with Vanderbilt. But I think that he obviously thought that was the best place for him to go. So I don't hold that against people, man. I know how that game's played.
I'm not holding it against. I'm just saying that other schools will use it when Vandy comes up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely they will. But I don't know. I don't know what. And I was going to ask Billy too. What does projecting mean? What does that word mean, Billy? When you say he projects well, what does that mean?
Well, he projects well. I mean,
hold on, Billy. You better be real careful because it feels like he wants to pick a fight here.
Does projecting means that when the middle linebacker's unblocked and he's got to throw a seam route, he's going to stand in there or he's going to run around? What does all that mean?
Well, it's a good fit within Josh Heupel's offense. He projects really well.
Okay. He does?
Yeah.
Here's the deal about college recruiting there, Billy. I'm going to give you a little insight. We can talk about all these 5 stars and 4 stars and 3 stars we want to, but nobody really knows what a kid's going to turn out to be until they get in there and they get it done. You know that.
Yeah.
When you played, was there such a thing as the 5-star system?
No, there was not. I didn't even hear about that stuff. I get so, it's like somebody, I guess the guy at Vanderbilt, what's that guy's name? Barton Simmons. Is that? I mean, he was big on those stars, was he not? I mean, he's one of those guys that hands out the stars to guys. I just don't I don't understand that because I know this. I watched guys when I was coaching, and I've watched guys when I was playing, and they would not stare down the barrel of a gun. They wanted to take off running. And then a guy's pretty good when he knows he's going to get the piss knocked out of him. He comes up, he throws a seam route to a guy. He comes up with his nose bloody, and then he gets back under center again. That's when you got a dude right there.
I take off and run like Josh Allen. By the way, Billy, best as I know, and I was told this months ago, that Vanderbilt never was a factor in this.
No, they weren't.
And had been told very early, you're not going to be a factor in it.
Yeah, I mean, Vanderbilt's, they're pretty rare to be a factor, no offense, but they're not really a factor in many big 5 stars. I don't think they've ever gotten a 5-star. So I don't know that this was really he had a grandfather that coached at Vanderbilt, but there aren't many 5 stars considering Vandy. I mean, much less 4 stars. So, also in the portal action, former LSU, Auburn, and Texas State quarterback TJ Finley. We all know that guy. He has landed at Western Kentucky.
Okay,
big time get for the Toppers.
Overrated.
Big time get for the Toppers. He's been to 50 schools.
I mean, it's Western Kentucky, or a group of 5 school. That's pretty good.
I know, but have you seen him throw the football?
Have you seen him run?
I mean, Western Kentucky likes to throw the football, and sometimes he throws scuds now.
That's a good point. He's not known for his arm, and they like to throw it around the yard. That is a good point.
Overrated.
He's not even really rated. I don't know if I'd say overrated.
Well, I thought what was the word you used?
Projects well, George.
Okay. I don't know. I just when I've watched him.
I mean, we're not talking about Alabama here. This is
no, but I mean, when he was LSU and Auburn, that's kind of what you think. and he clearly was not that. He had better success at Texas State.
He had a hell of a season at Texas State,
which I used to think was a prison.
I watched him play this past year because Troy played him at Texas State, and I don't know, man. Just don't do it for me. Never has.
Well, the Titans, of course, we know they're in a coaching search, and now that the divisional round is complete, they can finally start meeting with certain candidates in person. So they've completed 10 interviews so far, and Ben Johnson feels like it's heating up for him.
Well, let me say this: it should. If anybody watched his mix yesterday in play calling, I thought it was terrific. The more I see of him, the more I am starting to really say Ben Johnson, check mark.
I agree.
And not all that interested in Brian Johnson.
No.
In Philly.
No.
Nothing against him, but have you heard of a blitz?
Well, speaking of Philly,
hold on a second. Did you all not come away yesterday feeling pretty good about that guy and his play calling?
Yeah. Now, if he lands it with the Titans, he doesn't have nearly the amount of weapons he does in Detroit. I mean, they have a scary offense with those running backs, that tight end Laporta, those receivers, great O-line. So I'd be interested to see if he comes to Nashville, can he make do with what the Titans have, because it's not much.
Now I will say this. It's just like what I just said about college recruiting. A lot of times I've seen, and I've been in that business for a long time, I've seen guys that are really good as coordinators, and they make the jump to the head coach, and they're not very good. So, everybody deserves a shot. Obviously, he deserves a shot. I love the way he calls plays, man. He was dialing some stuff up the other day. They did not know how to defend their in-breaking routes the other day. I mean, it was kind of unbelievable, but you know what? Everybody deserves a shot, but you just never know because it's going to be his first time head coaching.
All I'm saying, and it really is this, I want to talk to him again if I'm them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, if they weren't impressed, then hello, open your eyes and look. That's all I'm saying.
How does that work? Like if you're a head coach and you really want to keep a coordinator, remember Belichick kept McDaniels all those years, after so many interviews for him. I mean, you have to really pay up.
You got a pony.
Like, would that even happen anymore?
I don't think so.
I mean, God forbid you like your coordinator, you want to keep him. There's probably usually no way now that you're going to keep him.
They're not keeping Ben Johnson.
Well, it was rare anyway. I just wonder. I started thinking about that.
He's going somewhere. Would we agree?
Oh, yeah.
Probably going somewhere.
Yeah.
I would think so. Yeah. I would think so.
Does the feeling on Bobby Slowick change?
Well, it's unfair, but clearly Ben Johnson's stock rose significantly, and Slowick's really didn't, which may not be Slowick's fault. You got to look at a whole body of work.
Yeah,
correct. You got to do your homework on trying to exactly what Kelly said. The projecting of, okay, do you know what being a head coach means? It means you put up with crap from people like me, where as an offensive coordinator, you sit in a room, hold up, and you never come out for anybody.
Correct.
I know
Big difference.
Yeah, and I know they don't want to go defensive. We'll get into this, but Aaron Glenn is also a hell of a coordinator too. So Dan Campbell is definitely probably losing both of his coordinators after this season. You mentioned the Eagles, George. Their OC, Brian Johnson, is definitely in some hot water right now. I'll be interested to see if they keep him, but they are not keeping their DC. And Ron Rivera, former Commanders head coach, is interviewing for that job. Riverboat Ron.
Not a surprise.
Good thing. I think that'd be a good hire.
Myself and Ron Rivera, we had the same agent. Still got the same agent. Well, I don't anymore, but yeah, he's a good dude from everything I've heard.
I never heard from your agent when we went negotiate. It was a very quick negotiation.
You didn't have anything that could help him, George.
There were not enough zeros in it for him to
also down in Jacksonville, they are hiring Falcons defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen as to be their DC in Jacksonville. So Doug Doug Peterson not happy with the defense, or that Titans loss at the end of the season, probably a big part of that. So they are bringing in a young guy, Ryan Nielsen, to be their DC. Real quick here, George, college basketball, Mark Griffin, buddy Griff sent us this before the show. DePaul, a great basketball tradition, actually, has fired their head coach, Tony Stubblefield, after a 3-15 start to the season. And we'll see what happens.
And the easy school to link, because they've had similar seasons, is Vandy.
And they're 5-12 right now, 0-5 in the conference. DePaul is 3-15 and 0-7 in the Big East. So
the DePaul stuff was 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Mark Aguirre, Terry Cummings, Dallas Comegys. Why they have not been able to put a stranglehold on Chicago, inner city, is a mystery to me. But if they find the right one, DePaul could get back there pretty damn quick.
Oh, yeah. Also tonight, Preds and Panthers, 7 o'clock puck drop in Nashville. Panthers are favored. Is this a big home stretch here, George?
No.
Coming up or no?
This is tonight, followed by another home game 9 days later.
Oh, so big break. All-Star.
Yeah, and then the All-Star break after that.
After.
Yeah.
Oh, so they get a break and then the All-Star break, in theory.
No, they go on the road some.
Oh, you said they do play.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah.
Got it. That's what I got.
Okay. So we got a lot to talk about. After the break, Watson Brown will join us. We'll talk about Kansas City's terrific win on the road in Buffalo and how gut-wrenching is that for the Bills. You talk about some mental baggage that is starting to build in Buffalo. It is. We'll also talk about Detroit and what they have done to ignite that city. Man, it was cool to watch yesterday. And there are other teams that advanced, called San Fran, lucky as hell. Green Bay was the better team, in my opinion. And Baltimore, which clearly was better than Houston. Stay tuned. NFL playoff talk when we come back.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution.
For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Okay, here we go with our commentary on what went on yesterday. Coach Watson Brown joins us from Cookeville. Watson, how are you?
George, I'm great. I'm watching snow melt, man. It's kind of neat. Never thought I'd say that.
But it feels good, doesn't it?
It does feel good. I could walk outside with my shirt off, even though I dang sure not going to do it. But
no, I would describe
this is a
post-snow.
This is a heat wave.
Oh, it's balmy. So I want to get both of you guys to talk about Josh Allen, who is, for whatever reason, this polarizing figure around the major networks. Personally, I thought he played great. I thought he did maybe within that much of damn near anything he could do to get Buffalo a win, and it just wasn't enough. Y'all take it from there.
Well, I agree, George. I thought he played a great game. And, I thought the problem was defense. They had so many defensive players out, so many. And the Chiefs were smart. They always are. They attacked the places where they had people out. One of the big catches Kelsey made early in the game was on a linebacker that was a backup linebacker, may have even been third-team linebacker. So they had to try to keep up. And that's hard to do. It's really hard to do. The Chiefs did not punt till they had the lead late in the fourth quarter. So they scored every time they had the ball till then, either touchdowns or field goals. And I still think he's got a little piece missing that he can fix. He's about 2 years back of Mahomes in this. If you remember, Patrick Mahomes struggled because he always wanted to throw downfield. And some teams started making that hard on him, and he learned, and he got past that. And he checked a bunch of balls down. I still think Josh likes downfield. I think about the last play that they've got a first down to Diggs underneath, wide open on the shallow cross. And the second thing, I've coached these guys forever, never coached one as good as him probably, but those guys that have great legs, when they get in the heat of the battle, sometimes they think legs instead of arm. They think run instead of throw. I still think he does that some, but he's getting better at it. So there's still little things he can do better to make himself even a better player. But the loss last night, you can't put on him. The throw he threw to Diggs up the boundary. I mean, dead on the money. And he just didn't come down with the ball, but they never broke stride. And just a beautiful throw. And if they catch that one, I think they're going to win the game. But they don't. And so it goes back. We all know it's on the quarterback and the head coach. They're starting to learn to get coordinators thrown in that with them now. But it's basically head coach and quarterback, and you win or you lose. And you get to the playoffs, it's win or you lose. It's not passing for 800 yards. It's win the game. And that's still what he's getting judged on, because that's what they all get judged on when it comes playoff time.
Kelly, you've sat in that seat. This guy has 21 playoff touchdowns to 4 interceptions. I always hear this. He's careless. He's reckless. He's this, he's that. I thought he was brilliant yesterday in defeat.
Yeah, coach is really good, man. He says everything I was going to say. I don't know. I just know this. When they have so many guys out on defense, that's what happened to them a couple of years ago when they got into that deal right at the end of the game. And then, they had the other coordinator, and I was with that guy. I'm not going to say his name, but I was with that guy. And there's no way in the world, after you go up in that game about 2 or 3 years ago when it was at Kansas City, and you go up and you got 13 seconds left, and they go down and they score, they kick a field goal or something like that. There's no way that happens in such a short amount of time. So it's one of those situations. I was thinking about this because I knew we were going to talk about it, but it's almost just to kind of put a different spin on it than already what Coach has said. But it's kind of like a deal where you remember when Michael Jordan was in his heyday, and you had a bunch of other good teams out there, but they could never get past the Bulls because of Michael Jordan. And it seems kind of like that's what's happening with the Buffalo Bills. They get caught up with the Chiefs every year, and, they're good, but they have to play the Chiefs. And Patrick Mahomes, man, golly, he's just he's kind of unshakable. He just – and I will say this, Coach hit the nail on the head right there when he talked about they had 4 linebackers yesterday that they dressed. That's all they had on the team for Buffalo. And one of the guys was, I think he was contemplating retirement, or he might have been on the street. And Sean McDermott drafted him when he was a defensive coordinator at Carolina. And then he brought him with him, that Klein kid, and they got that Klein kid matched up. That's you got to give it to Andy Reid and his staff. They got the Klein guy matched up on Travis Kelce a couple of times. And that's just you're not going to win that battle. Travis Kelce's going to win that. So it's kind of amazing that Buffalo is going through this right now, because they've got such a good, uber talented guy at the quarterback position, but defensively they're just not. Like you have to have all the cogs in the wheel to even play with Kansas City. And they had so many guys out. They had 2 corners out. They only dressed 4 linebackers yesterday. I mean, there's so many things that's going on that defensive side of the ball. They just couldn't stack up against Kansas City. And I'm surprised that it's a 27-24 game. And I believe that Josh Allen was the one that kind of kept them in the game. Now, I think towards the end of the game, that hero ball stuff starts coming a little bit. I don't know. I mean, he had that drop pass by Diggs, and he had the 2 drop passes by the same guy. I forget the kid's name, but he dropped 2 of them.
Trent Sherfield from Vandy.
Yeah, that's correct. That's who it is. Yeah, I think he dropped 2 of those passes. So when you're in a big game like that, you have to make the plays. And guess what? The Kansas City Chiefs made those plays, and Buffalo didn't make them last night. But there towards the end of the game, when they were down there, and I told somebody was texting me, and I said, the lie and the margins are so slim right now that if Buffalo turns the ball over right here, Kansas City is going to go down. They're going to score, and that's when Kansas City got that ball. And then the Hardman kid, he fumbles the ball out of the end zone. So if they go up right there, the kind of the game is over with. And then there at the end of the game, he's always been able to use his legs, and I thought Steve Spagnuolo did a really good job. And he took, like, right here, I mean, this was an unbelievable throw right there.
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable.
Make that throw. That was unbelievable.
And Shakir made a hell of a catch.
Yeah, and on that last drive, I mean, he took off running on that last, before they kick the field goal. And then it's unfortunate right here because you see the wind. You see where the things on the goalpost are waving. The wind was going left to right, and that's just, hey, he kicked it, and if he would have kicked it towards the left upright, he would have made it, but he didn't. He started it out towards the right, and the wind took it.
Kelly, I want to start this one with you. They have great fans, Bills Mafia, if that's what you want to call it. But they've got a lot of baggage in their history. Under Marv Levy, they went to the Super Bowl 4 times, never won any of them. Now they've got this thing where they can't beat Kansas City when it matters. How do you get over that kind of a mental hump?
I played up there for a couple of years. It's an awesome place to play. Those people up there support those guys. After the game, you saw that dude that was, I don't know if I would take it this far, but he's crying in the stands.
Yeah.
They're 0 for 4 in the Super Bowl. They're trying like the Dickens to get back. They've got the team, but until they get better on defense, George, they're just not going to make it. I mean, they've got to do something on the defensive side of the ball. The head coach is doing all he can, but we talked about the injuries. You got to figure out what's going on with the injuries because every year at this time, somebody's injured. All these teams have got injuries, but for some reason, Buffalo has just got a exuberant amount of injuries that is just I don't understand it. It happens every year for those guys, but it is a mental deal, George. And last night was another deal where it's just going to be harder and harder. They have, they got beat by Cincinnati. Was it last year?
Yes, in the
snow. 2 years ago. Yeah, it was in the snow, and it was a divisional playoff. You get road raced by didn't play well. You get road raced by Cincinnati, and then last night, I'm still surprised that they were in the game with all the deficiencies that they got on defense. But it gets to a point where you're like, they're good, but they can't beat the Chiefs, and that's where they're at right now. And until they overcome that hurdle in the playoffs, it's just not going to happen for them.
Watson, when a franchise gets this level of mental baggage, can the sitting head coach get that baggage out?
Well, he's the one that's got started, but I'm a firm believer that's overdone, and it's the leaders of your team that get you over the hump. But the head coach has got to be on par with those leaders, and there's got to be a direction. The word culture has popped up through all these years now, which I never heard that when I was coming up through the ranks, but I understand what it means. But it's the leaders have to get you over the hump, and talent's got to get you over the hump, George. They've got 40 free agents, 40 free agents. So this is going to be a new team next year. And man, they've got some major decisions to make because they've got a very important piece in place, and that's the quarterback. And I think they need a bona fide another wideout to go with Diggs. I do. I'd find that guy. I don't know who all these free agents are, if it's a lot of linemen or if it's all defense. I don't know. But, man, that's a bunch. And isn't that amazing? And Kelly can really talk about this. I can't. But you walk in a locker room, you get beat. It's the playoffs, and I've been in playoffs. I've been in twice in Division II and FCS. And it's absolute, man. You're all excited. You're ready to go to the game. You're in warm-ups. You play the game. Boom, it's over. You get beat, and it's over. And I can't imagine, and Kelly, I'd like for you to comment on that. I can't imagine going in that locker room and you look around and a bunch of them people are not going to be there. It's not like college where a lot of the guys are coming back. It's getting that way in college now with this transfer portal. But with the NFL and that, this is the last time you're with this team. And the next time you get together on a practice field, it's going to be a complete different team.
Yeah, that's a tough deal, Coach. I'll say that. I can remember when I first went into the National Football League, they just started free agency. Free agency was not as hot and heavy as it is now. So I knew when I left for the offseason, I was coming back to probably much of the same guys. But then towards the end of my career, man, free agency, it was all over the place. Guys were going everywhere. And it's not the same team. You're absolutely right. I use this analysis all the time. I can remember when I left in free agency. I was there one day and I was with the Cleveland Browns, and I talked with the coaches and all that. Well, the next day, I signed with the Buffalo Bills, and I can remember I was part of being in Berea, Ohio. I was part of the facility. I was part of all those guys one day, and then the next day, after I committed to the Buffalo Bills, I had to go over there and clean my locker out. And it's funny how you feel the day before when you go into the facility, and then the next day you leave the facility, or you go into the facility and you're not part of it anymore. And it's a weird feeling, and that's what happens. Like you said, there's a finality to it when you lose in the playoffs. You're looking. You got the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. That's all you ask for. You ask for a chance to advance in the playoffs, and they won the first game. They go to the second game. They obviously lose at home, and then you've got all these expectations. This is our year. And then all of a sudden it comes crashing down, where 3 or 4 hours earlier you had all these expectations and all these thoughts about, hey, we're gonna make it this year. And when you're a coach, I don't know what you say to guys like that. You lose at home like that. You've got so many expectations. You think you've got them where you want them, but it's a tough deal. And like you said, Coach, the same guys are not going to be on that team anymore. Free agency is totally taken over that league. Guys are going, like, if they had a really good league and they're up for free agency, they're going to go try to get as much money as they can, which that's understandable. But it's just it's a finality of the situation to know that, hey, this is the last time this group of guys are ever going to be together, and it happens year in and year out, and it's kind of sad and it sucks.
Watson, let me fire this one in there and get both of y'all to comment, and then we'll end the KC Buffalo discussion. A month ago, the Chiefs looked like they were in disarray. Remember the Christmas Day loss to the Raiders, and Mahomes is incredibly frustrated. His receivers are dropping balls. It looks awful. So now, a month later, how have they gotten their act in gear to look nothing like that team on Christmas Day?
Two things that I think start coming into play when you get playoffs and then late into playoffs. You can run the football and you play good defense. The one thing the Chiefs have had all year, they've played good defense, and especially pass defense. And they're never out of a game because they've got that good defense. And what's happened to them over when they were losing is they're running the football so much better. I go back to the fumble they had. They have knocked them down to get it to the 1 yard line. I mean, they're handing off and running the stretch play or the zone in the stretch and just off tackle, boom, 5, 6, 8. And then they run this sweep to a receiver that drives me nuts. Just hand it to number 10 one more time, and I think he walks into the end zone. But that's the difference to me, George. They always had that defense, and because they weren't throwing it as well, I think their head coach said, we have got to run the football better or we're not going to make it. And they have since that point.
Kelly, is it more Mahomes who took control or Andy Reid to get them out of that funk they were in on Christmas Day?
I think it's just coaches in general realizing that, hey, we just like Coach said, we got to run the ball more. Now, that Isaiah Pacheco dude is a really good player. I mean, he's not scared to throw. I would hate to hit that guy. He looks like a smaller version of Roger Craig with he just got everything moving. He's got those legs going. Like, I would not want to hit that guy. So he's just as much a difference as anybody else because, man, that guy can make some plays and he throws his body around. He's not a very big guy. But you're talking about is physical at his size. I mean, that's been a huge difference. But I tell people all the time too, George, these guys are hitting their stride at the right time. And I always go back to Ben Roethlisberger when he was in Pittsburgh. They were not very good in the regular season, and then they got hot at the end of the season. They finished the regular season at 9-7, and then went on a run. And that's the one that they had in Detroit with Jerome Bettis. He was going back home, and they beat Seattle up there. So it's this time of year, you have to play, you have to start gelling together, and Kansas City's doing that. And I think a lot of it has to do with Pacheco.
Okay, Hang in there. By the way, congrats to the Chiefs. I was wrong. I thought Buffalo would win. And I feel for the Bills. Man, this hurts, and you know it hurts. We'll go to the break. Congrats to the Lions. They're in the NFC Championship game. We'll talk about their victory over Tampa right after this.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458, or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
What an incredible scene yesterday at Ford Field in Detroit, where the Lions got it done again. And they got it done in impressive fashion, beating Tampa Bay 31-24. Kelly, we all thought going in that it would just be blitz after blitz after blitz. And to be honest, it really was not.
Yeah, and I think I think Detroit's offensive line is really good, man. They showed some deals where Tampa pulled some stunts out and did some things against them, and those guys just ate it up. So they're well coached. Jared Goff he's making plays when he has to, guys. We all know that's what this game is. You have to. There's going to be a time where you've got to make that 4-foot putt to win the Masters. Jared Goff, in the game before, they did not want to give the ball back, last week. So they on that fourth down play or the third down play, they threw the ball. So to get the first down. So it's kind of amazing what he's done this year. They got a total team and they believe in their coach. Their coach believes in them. That Amon-Ra St. Brown kid he's a good player. He makes tough catches, and the Laporta guy is an unbelievable tight end, man. You got some really good tight ends in the league. I mean, that Dalton Kincaid kid, the Knox kid from that went to school, I think at Brentwood Academy here for Buffalo, and then you got the Laporta kid that went to Iowa from for Detroit. He's a really good player. So they've got and both sides of the ball are playing really well defensively. Aaron Glenn's done a good job putting those guys in the right position to be successful. And what they're doing, because I've been up there and I've played at Ford Field and I played when they sucked, and there's nobody in those stands. But to see what they did yesterday, you got to be happy for the Detroit Lions and their fans and the coaching staff and the players. I hope that they can go to San Francisco. And the way San Francisco played the other day, I mean, you never know what's going to happen. All you ask for is a chance. And if they can go out there and play well, they can win that game.
So, Watson, for all of the accolades, properly so, that Dan Campbell has gotten in Detroit, is his best coaching job somehow propping up and then propelling to a new level of really good Jared Goff?
Yeah, that's part of it. The thing that he's given that team in a leadership way to me is an arrogance, a toughness, a competitiveness. It just comes out of his face when you see him on the sidelines, and it has gone through that team. The Jared Goffs have jumped all over it. Now Jared's got it, which he didn't have that prior to going to Detroit, and now he does. You can see it in his eyes, man. He's ready. He's ready to give it to me. I'll make this play. And when he got there, he wasn't that way. Success helps that, no doubt. But I think this goes from the head coach down through the leaders, and there's quite a few leaders on that team too, to me, George, that I thought they'd win, and even maybe win bigger than they did. The Bucs moved the ball better than I thought they would with some big plays with a great receiver. So they hung in there. But what the Lions do is what I've always believed in, especially in the drop back game. It's I said to you guys all the time, it's protection, timing, and spacing. But the big word in those three is timing. And I just believe they have such a timing in their drop back or their quick fake play action pass game that you can't get there. And he knew that. And he tried it once and he couldn't do it. Kelly's dead on. They have a really good offensive line. They hurt two of them yesterday. One got operated on today, by the way, and won't play next week. And the center was banged up big time. But that offensive line is very good. But you can't get to him because it's out of his hand. We've all talked 2.5. Kelly's heard it all his life. He's coached it himself. I coached it forever, even with a whistle in pass scales. If you didn't get it going 2.5, I blew a whistle. Play's over. That's what they do. And their passes, I don't see them up there checking this to this coverage or checking that to that coverage. They do some of that, a little bit in man situations going in, as I can see. But they're going to get rid of the ball, and they know where he's going to throw it. If he sees quarters, he's throwing it here. If he sees man free, it's going here. I just see a really good organized passing game, and the guy is good at that. Jared is really good at that, and it's going to be hard to beat. I'm telling you right now, do not count this bunch out going to San Francisco now. Their confidence level is out of the building right now, and they are going to be really hard to beat. And a little bit about those fans. We were talking about the Bills, Kelly, but the Bills have been a lot better than the Lions have been through the years. The Bills have been to 4 Super Bowls. They've won. They've been right up to nearly winning conference championships and all of that. The Lions, God bless them. I mean, for what I saw yesterday, I could have even teared up just watching all those people and the players and the reaction with everybody. It's unbelievable. That's what sports is so important in our country for, George. It's a show of what our society is really like. But when something hasn't been good and turns around, when you see a guy laying down and he can get up and go again, that's what turns this country on, is that kind of guy. And that's what the Lions have done. And so I think they got everybody pulling for them right now. I'd call them America's team.
I'm totally with you. So, Kelly, Green Bay exposed some things on San Fran. Green Bay was the better team, and I'm convinced had they made the field goal, Green Bay would be coming to Detroit Sunday. But what things did Green Bay teach Detroit that they can use this coming Sunday?
Well, that's a good question, George. That's a really good question. Well, I mean, I think when you get to these teams, Detroit can run the football now. They got the Montgomery kid, they've got the Jahmyr Gibbs kid. I think that Coach just talked about that. When you get into this time of the playoffs, you have to be able to run the football some. You can't just throw it all over the place. And I think that's what's made the biggest difference in Kansas City. And I think that's going to make a huge difference. It's made a huge difference for Detroit right now. In Green Bay, I mean, Green Bay had them schemed up again, man. Aaron Jones can run that football. They can run the rock. And I think that's what they did. They kind of controlled the game that way. I will say this, though, and I'm sure Coach is going to say this, but I'm happy for the Brock Purdy kid because people don't understand. I don't think Greg Olsen and those guys did a very good job. When it's pouring down rain like that, I'm going to tell you right now, when it poured down rain, I was about to crap my pants when I had to deal with the football and throw the football. And, Brock Purdy, his hands are not overly large, but if he would have lost that game the other day, everybody would have been like, this guy can't do it. He's Mr. Irrelevant. He was the last guy drafted. And I think the guy's a really good football player. And he didn't play good the whole game. But when they needed him the most was on that last drive.
Yep.
And he took it down the field and he scored, and he was 5 of 6 on the last drive that he had to have it. So that kind of says something about that guy. Now, they didn't play good, and Green Bay kind of handed it to him a little bit. And you're right. They probably deserved to win the game, but they didn't finish the game at the end when they had to. So when it's pouring down rain, though, George, people don't understand how that can nullify and make a not as good a team as they're playing, compete with that team that they shouldn't beat. And I just that rain, man, it kind of equalizes the game. And if you can run the ball like Green Bay did and neutralize that deal and kind of take it away from San Francisco's offense and stay on the field, you got a chance to win. That's what happened in that game.
Watson, I'm excited to see Detroit Sunday against, a touchdown favorite 49ers. What does Detroit take from Green Bay, in your opinion?
Well, Detroit will get from Green Bay. Green Bay ran the ball 10 times outside the tackles for 11-point-something yards per carry in that game. 10 times. And so they didn't try to beat them up inside. They were able to get around the corners with different ways with counters and seal, and then and the wide stretch and some sweeps, some pin and pull sweep plays. But they got the ball outside. Detroit's offense is very similar to Green Bay, very similar. They will get a lot from this, not only on the runs but the play action passes and all of those pieces. In my opinion, I think it's a perfect match for Detroit. You get to the Final Four, you're going to play somebody really good. So they're really good. The 49ers are. But the other thing I'd want to comment on, because I played quarterback too, there is nothing worse than a complete wet football trying to throw it, man. And the pro ball guys, Kelly will tell you this, the pro ball is bigger. It's wider than a college ball. And so your hands got to get more of it. And it's so hard. And I always told my guys, George, I always said to them, when it's raining like that, don't try to make the great plays. Don't throw off balance. Take the shorter, whatever. Don't try to throw it in BB hose, because it always scared me to death. I never. We always threw it a lot, but I'd wake up every Saturday morning and say, oh, God, is it going to rain today? So as a coach, I didn't like it. As a player, I didn't like it. And it is a big deal. And then on that kick, I don't think people know in that game last night, Buffalo game, how hard that wind was blowing, how cold it was. And George, Kelly will tell you this. He's probably a holder. The toughest wind to kick in is a left to right wind. When you're kicking a football into a left to right wind, your towards better be really good because it's going to grab it. Most of these guys got a little hook on their ball, and so it's a lot easier on a right to left or you're kicking into a wind. But that left to right wind, man, is tough. I feel for that kid last night.
Guys, great commentary. Thank you both for taking the time to do that. Watson, we'll talk again here soon.
Good to talk to you guys. Always an honor.
Watson Brown joining us. It's an honor to have him on. After the break, we'll get to stat of the day. Our percentages did not go up in the snow. And after that, we'll get into news around the NFL because there's some interesting stuff out there. Stick around.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Top of the hour on a Monday. Let's get into stat of the day, brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards. You can find them out in Shelbyville. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. All right, this might be the easiest stat of the day that you have ever been asked. Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey broke the record for most playoff touchdowns by a quarterback-receiver duo in NFL history with 16. What quarterback-receiver duo previously held the record?
Well, Kelly, let's start with Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, or is it Steve Young, Jerry Rice?
No, it's Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski.
Ah. Huh. You sure about this?
Yeah.
This is George's age coming out, I think.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. That's not a bad guess.
No, it's
They
not.
had I think going into the game they had 14. Brady and Gronkowski had 15, and I think the two that they had, I think they now have 16, and Gronk and Brady have 15.
Okay, so it's not like I put out there Kelly Holcomb, Dennis Northcutt. I mean, let's go ahead and salute Kelly here. That up, baby.
Attaboy, Kel.
Hey, Joe Montana and Jerry Rice were third, though.
And that
they had 12.
Who was second?
It was Brady and Gronkowski second now, but Joe Montana and Jerry Rice had 12.
Okay, got you. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On to the NFL news. Did you all notice that Jim Harbaugh attended his brother's playoff game?
Yes.
And the family was there, saw Jack.
So what is that signifying, George?
Well, that's what I'm asking you all. Okay, is that simply brotherly love, which it could be, although I don't totally think so? Or is it him sort of kind of taking one last look at a pro game to say, okay, what's changed since I was there last time? What do y'all think?
I think it's brotherly love myself. I think he already knows. Me personally, knowing Jim, don't know him well, but I've played with him for 3 years, but just knowing him, I think he had a bitter taste in his mouth when his brother beat him in the Super Bowl when he was with San Francisco. So I think he wants to. He was fortunate enough to win a national title at Michigan, his alma mater, kind of bring that program back to national status. And I think he wants to go on. I think he wants to pursue another Super Bowl ring. That's just me.
Yeah, I think he's headed to the NFL. I mean, he was at he made a comment. I wanted to clip this, but he was at the March for Life, a conservative event over the weekend, and he was interviewed. It was a quick interview by some, I don't even know who it was, and he said he was asked about Michigan and, well, what's up right now? You know, what obviously you guys just won the national title. A lot of speculation. And Harbaugh goes, yeah, it's an interesting time, passing the torch. He said the phrase passing the torch, and a lot of that got, of course, the internet riled up.
Yeah.
I think, he's got to be gone. He's going back to a second interview with the Chargers. And usually a second interview is a pretty good indication he is going to the NFL, or to that job specifically. Yeah. I just think it's a matter of time.
Is he considered a great quarterback coach?
I don't know about that. He's just a great coach in general. I mean, both Harbaughs. I mean, everybody loves him. Whether it's John, Kelly, you've talked about Jim and how, quirky he can be, but it's like it's kind of like a lovable weirdness to him. Like he's, it's hard to dislike Jim Harbaugh unless you're an Ohio State fan.
Jim did the best thing of his career, and I've said it over and over on this show, but the best thing of his career was he gave the play calling up, because I still don't know if he'd have won a national championship if he would have been the play caller. He allowed somebody else to do that. I think Jim and John and his dad, I think John is a great motivator. I think Jim is the same way. I think they can motivate young men. They've been there. They've done that. He is quirky. He's all over the place. I don't, when you've got experience playing in the National Football League like he does, like I did, I think you bring a different aspect to the game for a guy that you're coaching. And I think he obviously is a pretty good quarterback coach. I don't know if he's in the room with them every day. He might not be, or he might be. I don't know. But he can just give them some words of experience. This is what you need to do. This is what you're looking at. You've got to worry about your protections. He can bring a pro style mentality to a college kid. And I think that I think he's going to the NFL, though, George. I really do. And I think, San Diego or L.A., the Chargers present everything that he wants with the quarterback. He's got Justin Herbert, and you can build around that. They got a really good team, too. They got a good defensive football team. They got some guys on the offense that can make plays. They've got things in place there that I think he could go and he could win big and win now.
Oh, I think somebody is going in there and prove what a goofball Brandon Staley turned out to be.
Maybe, yep.
Wow. Okay, let's get to Belichick. Is it y'all's belief that every team, number one, that has an opening has discussed him internally? And secondly, are there teams that don't have an opening that have been discussing him internally? Kelly, let's start that one with you.
Every team that has an opening 100% has talked about him. Now, I don't know if teams that still have their coach and are going to keep their coach talked about it. I'm sure the Dallas Cowboys talked about it. I guarantee you they talked about it when he and his sons are in that room and they're talking about what they should do. I guarantee you they talked about it. There's no question. Maybe some other teams have maybe the New Orleans Saints, somebody like that just are not sure on the sure foot with their coach. I mean, they might have, but I think there's a bunch of teams, and I really believe your question was, I think that everybody that has a head coaching vacancy has 100%. They talked about him. Now, you got to figure out, do you want the Patriot way? Do you want a 71-year-old guy coming in here? Obviously, he's got all the metal, the hardware comes along with him. So I just feel like Atlanta is such a good fit for him because Arthur Blank is so desperate to win football games. I think you'll give him anything he wants.
Yeah, the last part you said there, Kelly, that's the part people are scared about, the Patriot way. Is Belichick willing to change his ways?
Is it Patriot way or the fact that he's 71?
Well, I mean, a little bit of both. He hasn't really shown that he's very good at changing. I mean, when he tried to change, he hired Joe Judge and Matt Patricia to be co-offensive.
That didn't help him.
I mean, so if he's doing that, I mean, if they're talking to him, bringing him in, and he's not clear on what he wants to do offensively, then it's kind of like the Vrabel thing. There's some organizations that don't want to go that direction. So I don't know that everybody with an opening now, have they thought about it? Yeah, but I mean, have they thought about it seriously? I don't know that everybody has.
Okay, I'm assuming that in Belichick's deal, when asked about an OC, the word is Josh McDaniels. I would also, Kelly, hope for Vrabel's sake that it's not Todd Downing, that he's got something better on the horizon for some team than Downing.
I would say he would better. I'd say he better because that's if I hear that guy's name or the Tim Kelly guy that he had this past year, I would not. Yeah, you're going to have to do something else, and I would seriously talk to him about you have got to change your philosophy. Now he may be bullheaded because I think we know that he is, and he might say, "Well, that's just the way I coach, and if you don't want that style of football, then I probably don't need to be your head coach." I don't know if he'll go into it saying that, but I think he's got to come up with a new philosophy. You've got to change with the times. I still think you have to run the football, but you have to have a guy that can throw the football, and you have to be willing to throw the football some. And just like Detroit did to win the game, they threw that ball because they did not want the other team to have the ball again. You've got to have the confidence in your guy. I don't think Vrabel, if he were in that situation, I don't think he would have ever done that. And I just think he has to turn the page on his philosophy about what he thinks, and he has to get up with the 21st century here in offensive football.
Okay, I want y'all to play the what if game here. Owners normally don't know as much football as the GM does. Owners are people that have gotten rich in some other line of work, and they bought a football team. So it seems like they're the more likely to be swayed by, man, that Ben Johnson looked terrific. And man, that Bobby Slowick, they didn't get squat done. So this weekend, did Johnson's stock rise huge? Did Slowick's stock fall dramatically? What do y'all think?
Well, I think. I mean, that's a good question, George. I think Ben Johnson's stock went up. I don't know if that did anything to Slowick's stock. I mean, I think he's done like the Houston Texans. They got a first-year head coach. They weren't even expected to make the playoffs, and they end up winning the division. So I thought what he did with C.J. Stroud was pretty impressive. C.J. Stroud's a really good football player. So I don't think I don't think his stock went down. If you're asking me if Bobby Slowick's stock went down, I don't think so. I think what they did with that team, they got them to a certain point. I mean, they won a playoff game, George. I mean, which was pretty remarkable because nobody said they were very good this year or going to be very good. They go to Baltimore. Baltimore's kind of a different deal this year, man. Offensively, they're really good. Defensively, that's what Baltimore's known for. So that was a tough task, a tough ask for anybody to go into Baltimore and beat those guys. So I think both of them stock is pretty high myself.
Look, I think the GMs will be much more even keel, but Billy, I do wonder about the owners who are, I want it now. Yeah. I've got them. I can buy anything I want. Get it now. I guess I slammed the table one time too many there. You get where I'm going?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with Kelly. I don't think, there's some fans. I'm sure there's Titans fans. I don't want Bobby Slowick anymore. They just got bludgeoned by the Ravens. But they're both young. Either way, the Titans, I think, are going to get a young coach. Would we agree on that?
Oh, I have no idea. They've interviewed
the
free world.
They've interviewed a lot, but they interviewed Aaron Glenn. There was a lot of, they're not hiring Aaron Glenn. I mean, I could be wrong, but
I don't know that. I heard one of the things over the weekend say he's the leader.
Yeah. Really? But, I mean, they've got agents, and agents know analysts, and they, release stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. I know we're having John McClain. I'd love to get into that, all these interview process with McClain, and it's lasting longer. I was watching something this morning that's what the NFL has wanted. They want this to last longer than it has.
Hot stove league.
Yeah, just
is what it is.
Keep the talk going. Talk about it that dead week of Super Bowl before the.
Yeah, but God forbid you're allowed to hire anybody that week.
Oh no!
As though somehow the Super Bowl will come crumbling down. Because Carolina hired whoever.
That is true. But no, crazy. I mean, Johnson, I would love Ben Johnson. He keeps coming to mind just with what he's done with, I know Goff's experience, but Watson was talking about it with his schemes and the timing of all that and the play action. I know they likely won't have Derrick Henry, but I like Ben Johnson a lot.
Okay, so what you're saying is that what you saw yesterday is swaying you some.
Well, to Johnson, but it's not like I don't,
Right. And I'm having to, because I came away from the Detroit game going, man, check mark.
Yeah.
And then I had to go, now wait a minute. This other guy, and I don't know that it's coming down to these two, but if it were, I'm sitting there saying, now wait a minute. This guy helped a rookie have the best rookie quarterback year since Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Speaking of going back a tad ways. How about that one?
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, and real quick, Lamar talked about it after the game. He gave credit to the Texans and what they had drawn up, and they hit some big plays. And so even then, I know they only put up 10 points and Stroud really struggled, but Slowick has the high regards from everybody around the league.
So if you get one of these young guys, say you get a Bobby Slowick, which he comes from the Mike Shanahan deal where Mike Shanahan was the head coach, but he was also the offensive coordinator. His son does the same thing. Matt LaFleur does the same thing. I'm certain that he would probably do the same thing. You get a Ben Johnson guy, like Would he call the plays? I mean, some of these guys might just be the head coach, and then they hire an offensive coordinator. Then that comes to the question, are you going to run my system, or are you going to let him run his system that's kind of like yours? So what's going to happen there? You get where I'm coming from here?
Well, early on, shouldn't those two be saying, hell yeah, I'm calling the plays. That's what I do best.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's right. I mean, I think that, I mean, they've done well at it. Andy Reid did well with it for a long time. I've just always thought that when you're a head coach in the National Football League or a big Division I school, I think you need to be the head coach, and you need not micromanage. Just let those other guys do it, and then you get in on the tough decisions. But some guys, like Mike McCarthy's doing it. He's calling plays. Some of these coaches, I mean, it's their prerogative because they're the head coach. Sometimes it doesn't work out.
Well, yeah, I think it's worked at enough places, like you said, Andy Reid, Slowick, Johnson. They have shown that they can. Now you got to have a great D coordinator as well, and I think that, Kelly, you're right, and it can get in the way of a lot of organizational stuff. And Slowick, you're probably likely hiring a guy that's never been a head coach, and that first year being a head coach is never easy for anybody. So
no.
This is not going to be easy.
Last thing out of me, something I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that yesterday nobody got seriously hurt when the Bills fans started chucking the snowballs.
Yes.
That could have gotten serious.
I was watching with some Chiefs fans, and they were screaming at Chris Jones, "Put your helmet on!" Because they all had their helmets off, and yeah, Bills fans, Kelly knows, different breed, man.
They were pissed, but they were antagonizing a little bit. Now you do that when you're a player, you antagonize guys. So when they start throwing stuff at you, I mean, you brought it on yourself. And the thing that got me was not this week, but the week before, when the George Pickens guy was actually actively going for a football in the end zone, and somebody threw a softball or threw a snowball at him, didn't hit him, but it went right past his head, and I'm like, that's the Buffalo Bills fans right there.
Yeah, but here's the part of that story that nobody knows. Then Pickens asked the guy to be their quarterback. Okay. After the break, we have studs and duds. Some interesting stuff. Stay with us.
The George Plaster Show is Nashville's best sports talk, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There's a podcast version available on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
Okay, Kelly, you ready for a little studs and duds?
Let's do it.
Let's start with the first one.
Detroit.
He reminded us yesterday, not that we needed a ton of reminding, how great Patrick Mahomes is. What about the left-hand throw as he's being chased out of the pocket?
Out of bounds.
God.
I mean, the guy's unbelievable. And this is their 6th straight AFC Championship game. 6 straight. I mean, he's getting on. He's been to 3 Super Bowls. Peyton went to 4. He won 2. We know what Brady did. He went to how many? 10 and won 7. So, he's starting to get to that kind of heights in his career, don't you think, George?
I said the same thing to somebody last night watching the game. I said, he's getting closer and closer every year to Brady.
6 years in a row of being in the AFC title game. That's incredible.
Incredible. I think Brady and them did it 8 times, so he's 2 behind. But, do you see this stopping? I don't.
No.
Not really.
He's 28. Brady was he was 45. And with today's technology of staying healthy and, he could go even more.
He may not get there every year, but it does feel like he's always going to be in contention.
Always.
Stud number 2, man. How good was that? That gave me goosebumps in pregame just watching that.
That was cool. That was a cool place, especially when those people started waving their towels. They mimicked what they do in Pittsburgh with those towels. But like I said earlier in the broadcast, man, I've been to that place, and played a game when they weren't very good, and there were sections available, as you say, George. There were sections available, and then last night to see that, man, that town is so deserving of that. It's been since 1991 that they were in the NFC Championship, so good for them.
Sports is such a great unifier when you win, and all of a sudden race and politics and religion, it doesn't matter. It's the Lions. Pretty cool. Third stud. You know what? That's not an easy guy to contain, we have learned in C.J. Stroud. And in the second half, Baltimore shut him and them down completely.
Completely. You're absolutely right. That was a game. It was 10-10 going into halftime. Lamar Jackson was frustrated, and then they came out and they just poured it on. And it's amazing how some teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, I used to have to play against 2 times a year. It's amazing how that place has gone through different succession of coaches, but they're known for their defense. I mean, I know Lamar's there, and they may get Mark Andrews back. They've got some dudes on offense with Odell Beckham Jr. and with the Zay Flowers kid. I mean, but if Mark Andrews comes back, the Isaiah Likely kid from Coastal Carolina is playing really good too. He showed that he's a ball player. So, man, that's a tough out. for anybody. And if Kansas City goes up there and beats them, they've done something.
The fourth one will surprise you. You're like, okay, great. They upset them. Listen to this stat. It is the first time in the last 53 games that Tulane has played against ranked teams, ranked by Associated Press, that they have won.
Wow.
I heard that today, George. That's pretty amazing. I mean, I think it's like there's 30-something teams or 30-something games that they played and hadn't beaten a number 10 or below. So that was pretty impressive.
Crazy. Good for them. Now to the duds. Yes. I watched on Saturday. Billy, there's something going on clubhouse-wise with the old Hogs.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. And Griff's talked about it. They got a lot of talent. I think they got a 5-star recruit, but they've had these bad starts, in the past couple seasons under Musselman, but not this bad, this deep into the year. And I saw it too, George. I couldn't believe that, just how bad they looked. I think they were favored.
Well, not only were they favored, they were never even close. I mean, it was double digits basically from whenever South Carolina got to double digits till the end. No real run. Bud Walton's a pissed-off arena.
They are. They're not calling many Hogs over there.
No, if you're not careful, they'll eat some of those Hogs. Item number 2. Think about this for a second. We may have gotten deprived of unbelievable endings. I believe if Green Bay kicks the field goal, Green Bay would be going to Detroit Sunday. Now, here's what I think I know on the other. If Bass had hit the field goal, does anybody really believe their defense would have stopped KC?
No, I do not. And then I think that, everybody's talking about the throw that he made there at the end of the game where it came up short to the Shakir kid when he kind of got hit from the left side. I mean, it kind of threw him off a little bit. But, if they score right there, I mean, Kansas City's going to get the ball, and they've done it over and over and over again. So that game's not over yet. You know what I'm saying? And it was right under 2 minutes. I think that was maybe in the first play under the 2-minute warning. So that play, you're giving Patrick Mahomes too much time. I mean, it's kind of like Tom Brady. When Tom Brady took over in the waning minutes of the game, you knew what was about to happen. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes.
What Buffalo was trying to do was score with about 18 seconds left.
Yeah, absolutely. Just couldn't get it done.
The third dud. Yeah, whatever. Move on.
We did have a topic here, a comment in here. Bucky McMillan not Stanford, but Samford is a big stud. He could bring Memorial Magic back and rescue the biggest dud in Power 5 basketball. He's done a great job.
Martin Newton, CM's son, hired Bucky McMillan, who was a very successful high school coach in the Birmingham area. And that's what the reference is there. And then the fourth. What in the hell was he thinking with the fake punt?
That was so stupid.
I realize it looks a lot smarter if you make it. It always does. Yeah. But you can't give Kansas City that short a field now.
Oh, but they had 10 men on the field. Well, when does that ever mean you have to fake punt?
Looked like the 10 knew it was coming. Did it not?
Short side of the field. I mean, that was ugly.
That's kind of panicking in that situation. That's what he did. I mean, and I get where he's coming from, but still, I mean, the more plays that they have to make, the more percentages go up that you're going to make a mistake. So if you kick the ball, it's not a proven fact that they're going to go down and score. But if they get the ball down deep in that territory, when they pull with the fake punt right there, they're fortunate that McCole Hardeman fumbled that football out of the end zone, because if he don't, that game's over at that point.
Does that rule need to be changed?
Oh, you listen to them guys on ESPN today. No, who cares? It's been around forever. Keep the rule.
Apparently, they're thinking about changing it.
The NFL is?
Yeah.
Or ESPN is? Does ESPN have the ability to change the rule?
Probably.
Yeah, who's thinking about doing that, Billy? Do you know?
I heard somewhere that the NFL is seriously considering changing that rule.
It would be competition committee.
Yeah, the competition committee.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, like, if the defense makes a good play like that, you can't penalize them. I mean, that's the offense's fault. I get it.
But if it bounces one way to the left, that's just out of bounds at the 1 yard line. They still get a chance.
Hey, that's the rule, man. Sorry, you got to live by
game of inches.
Correct.
Game of inches.
Yes.
We'll go to the break. Plaster bet of the day on a little bit of an uptick. I was damn close to going 4-0. I better be able to see that when we come back.
Are you 500?
No. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
Final segment on a Monday. Preds in action tonight against the Panthers. And big Monday, college basketball is back tonight. Wake Forest at North Carolina in a good matchup tonight. So we'll see what happens. But first, let's review the weekend for George. Brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Give them a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. All right, let's check it out. Look at that.
Okay. Kelly, what I am. No, wait a minute. That's not the record. Were we not 12-16 going in?
You'd have to take that up with Matthew.
And went 3-1. I think we better relook at the record.
Oh, well,
we got some mathematical issues going on. I'm most proud of the Green Bay because as that game went on, Green Bay flat out looked like the better team.
Yeah, they not only had a chance to win, they for certain covered, but they were in it to the end.
So I should be 15-17, but when you're down and out, Kelly, every loss matters. So
everybody's on you.
Where do we go when we need a win?
Oh, to the Preds.
Pop it up there, Billy. Screw Big Monday. I'm going with the Preds.
Is that tonight?
Yes. Florida is a very good hockey team. But the Predators have played really well in recent weeks against the good teams. It's been the lower level competition that has gotten them. And it's hard to explain. I have no idea why. They may not either.
Some sports, man. You never know.
Kelly, behave until tomorrow when Tony Basilio will join us.
Oh, big tone. I can't wait to see him.
Behave. Billy, you behave as well.
I'll try.
See you tomorrow.
See you.